Honestly, I feel like it's like pulling teeth.
How Robyn Brown's tearful appeals to Meri are nothing short of a manipulative gesture, and how she kept Meri away from her own children in silence. There's a dark secret behind Robyn Brown's tearful tantrums, and it's time we lift the veil. Today, we're going in depth on how Robyn's sobbing appeals to Meri weren't only deceptive, they were part of an overarching pattern of emotional manipulation. And yes, it involves isolating Meri from the children she helped raise. If you think that sounds dramatic, just wait. It gets worse. Let's dive in. On the surface, Robyn is appalled that Meri's leaving. She even utters, "Don't go. I want to tell the kids." But then comes the kicker. Meri tells us that for years, she's attempted to stay in touch with Robyn's kids. She called, asked to come over, sought to keep the connection going, and received nothing but radio silence or empty excuses. That's not forgetfulness. That's deliberate. And still, Robyn continues to cry on camera, acting the role of a bereaved sister wife. But once the cameras cease filming, cuteness, no attempt, no reaction, and most definitely no visits permitted. Not sure yet something's amiss. Let's flash back. Remember last season when Meri matter-of-factly confided that Robyn only speaks to her when Meri initiates or when the cameras are rolling? That confession was buried in extra scenes that didn't even make the final cut. Why? Because they reveal the truth TLC continues to recycle. The same old scenes, repeatedly, and hiding the content that gets at what's actually happening. And Robyn's strange refusal to inform her children that Meri was moving out? They're not toddlers. They can grasp it and should hear it from Meri directly. Robyn appeared utterly frantic, however, when Kody demanded that they be informed. It's just another case of her being too controlling, hiding her children away from information she doesn't want them to have, even when it involves harming others along the way. Let's not overlook the COVID-era double standards. Meri obeyed all the rules. She hadn't had any visitors for weeks, but Robyn still refused to allow her to come over and visit. The twist? Robyn's nanny, who did visit, became the one who brought COVID into their household. You can't make this stuff up. Robyn always sobs about unity, about wanting sister wives who stand by her side. But her behavior? That's not it. She's systematically driven away Christine, Janelle, and now Meri, all while presenting herself as the one who is being left behind. Let's discuss history and how Robyn quietly rewrote it. Meri was a second mother to Robyn's children. She adored them. They adored her. And yet, year in and year out, Meri wasn't even invited to celebrate holidays with them. Robyn said she had nothing to do with the guest list. Please, we all know better. Robyn's dynamic is sinister. She befriended Meri long enough to convince her to leave Kody for him so he could marry her legally and adopt her children, securing her future while discreetly excluding the other wives in the process. And when Kody threatened to break things off with Meri, Robyn advised him against it because she wanted Meri to be the one to leave. That is level next manipulation. But wait, the chaos doesn't stop with Robyn. Let's shift gears and talk about Mykelti and Tony. If you've been watching this season, you've probably noticed the drama is endless and exhausting. In one of the most emotional talks of the season, Christine shared about moving on in her life. But naturally, Mykelti couldn't resist hijacking the moment and inserting her own anecdote about how fast she and Tony got married. It was tone-deaf, irrelevant, and, for once, someone called her out. Christine's daughter, Isabel, shot her a flat stare and said coolly, "I'm not speaking of you presently. I am speaking of Mom." Mic drop. That moment, totally legendary. It was a much-needed window into someone pushing back against Mykelti's perpetual need for attention. Thank goodness that they did not edit it out. And don't even begin with Tony. If you've ever had the experience of trying to sit through a group discussion without Tony interjecting with some cringe-worthy joke or boisterous interruption, you're worthy of a medal. He inserts himself into all things, all scenes, all discussions. It's like he's holding out for his own spinoff, and not a positive spinoff either. So, why are Tony and Mykelti even still prominently featured this season? Easy. They're the only steady connection between the original family and the next generation. And trust me, they're milking their screen time for all it's worth. With the lack of natural jokes and over-the-top grabs for attention, it's almost painful to watch. Let's be real. Does any of this look like a healthy family anymore? We've all known someone like Tony, an in-law who dominates every gathering, never reads the room, and manages to derail every serious conversation. And because no one wants to cause drama, they get away with it. Occasionally, someone tries to politely change the subject. Okay, moving on. But trying to silence Tony is like trying to stop a hurricane with a paper towel. So, where does that leave us? We're watching a show where truth is edited, history is rewritten, and accountability is nowhere to be found. If TLC wants to save Sister Wives, it's time to start asking the tough questions. Stop letting Kody and Robyn spin the narrative. Let the audience see what's really going on before the viewers stop caring altogether. Because let's face it, the true drama doesn't lie in the tears. It's in the deception that is masked by them. Buckle up, because what you're about to hear might be one of the most tone-deaf Sister Wives moments ever. Tony, in all his typical smugness, dropped a jaw-dropping comment that left viewers with a double take. We're referring to Christine's new romance, her deceased husband's checkered past, and Tony's completely out-of-bounds reaction. If you thought the family drama was already on 100, wait until we break down this train wreck. Let's dive in. It began when the family was talking about Christine's fiancé, David, a guy who lost his wife and had 8 children to raise by himself. Tragic, huh? Instead of being sympathetic, Tony interrupts with a strange and insensitive remark about how impressed he is that David didn't end up on the skids with gambling or dope. Seriously, Tony, that's what goes through your head? What was supposed to be an act of solidarity turned into an awkward moment no one invited. Tony essentially saying that most individuals would implode after such a tragedy. Subtle shade, insider information, or merely a badly disguised swipe at someone else? Because the long-rumored talk of Kody having a gambling issue suddenly starts to feel a lot more believable. The manner in which Tony spoke that line was as if he was dropping bombshells that weren't his to drop. Everyone in the room realized it was out of place. Fortunately, someone had the courage to call it off with a soft, "Maybe don't talk about that right now." Finally, someone brave enough to slam on the brakes on Tony's nonstop oversharing. And come on, Christine's fake laugh wasn't convincing anyone. The fact that her whole attitude shifted the minute Tony spoke told you everything. She transitioned from smiling to taut in seconds. It's draining to watch, and you can't help but wonder, do they really just put up with him because he's Mykelti's husband? If you think Tony's awkwardness is the worst of it, think again, because this isn't just about one odd comment. It's about a trend of snarky comments, cruel jokes, and an air of superiority that yells resentment towards Christine. And as Tony plays like the world's biggest misunderstanding comic, Aspen simply stood there and demonstrated what true emotional maturity appeared to be. When Isabel spoke up that things were going too quickly, Aspen stepped in, encouraging, centered, and confirming. "It's okay to feel that way," she stated. "No drama, no dismissal, only love and compassion." While Tony is over here, throwing shade in passive-aggressive ways like he's trying out for Real Housewives, Reunion Edition. And don't even get me started on Mykelti. Whenever someone else attempts to express themselves, she manages to shift the attention back to herself. Typical me syndrome. You recognize that one individual at each family function who just can't read the room? That's Tony, and Mykelti right there with him, narrating their own side plot. But it was Isabel who delivered the episode's moment of truth when she firmly stated, "This is not about you." Boom, mic, drop. It was pure gold watching Isabel calmly reclaim the conversation and remind everyone why Christine chose her to be center stage during the most important moments. From shutting down Mykelti's interruptions to quietly defending her mom's choices, Isabel is showing grace under pressure, and fans are here for it. And let's take a moment to appreciate Aspen once more. She's the quiet MVP. This girl essentially raised the younger siblings, worked her way through all the family drama, and still manages to keep peace with wisdom beyond her years. It's no surprise that she, Logan, and others turned out so grounded. They did the real parenting while Kody and Robyn were racing chaos. But here's where it gets really interesting. Many of Christine's kids married their first serious partners. So when they say something's moving fast, they know what they're talking about. That makes Isabel's boldness even more impressive. She's not afraid to voice concern, but she does it with empathy, not drama. And look, let's get real. Christine's in her 50s. She's not playing the field like a 22-year-old. She knows what she wants. She's done all the waiting game, the heartbreak, the marathon suffering. So when she meets somebody who makes her happy, she's not going to hit pause for the sake of anyone else's comfort. The only thought? Truly. Still young, still at home. But even she appeared okay with it all. Christine's not flinging caution to the wind. She's just finally doing what makes her happy. And in the midst of it all, Tony is still the clumsy, unwanted commentary we didn't want. But thanks to Isabel, Aspen, and even Peden, yes, Peden, we had moments of clarity and truth that reminded us why we continue to watch this messy, complicated family. Bottom line, Tony might be the elephant in the room, but the real stars are the daughters standing up, speaking truth, and keeping their family grounded. And for that, we'll definitely be tuning in next week. You've earned your place in the spotlight, no doubt. But when it came to family gatherings, Robyn showed up late and left early, glued to her phone the entire time. It was obvious she didn't really want to spend time with the rest of us. Robyn paints herself as the victim here, but what if the real issue is her own coldness toward the other kids? Let's go into a part of the story that most won't admit. From the beginning, Robyn kept her kids apart. She sent them to her mother's house for their 11-day honeymoon, but the other wives needed to request permission to have them for a few days. To boot, she hired a nanny in Vegas. Even after she had given voice to how alone that left her, she still did not go out of her way to reach out to the rest of us. Now, she complains that her children have always been separated from the family, but plainly, it's she who inflicted this distance. Robyn frequently discuses her fantasy of sitting on a porch with her sister wives, having good times. But here's the catch. She never really attempted to fit in or have her kids be a part of the entire family. Rather, it seemed like she didn't want to keep them separated, not even fully included. Ironically, the enormous porch on her McMansion was hardly ever used during the show, even though there were numerous opportunities over the years. This is where it becomes more complex. Robyn has manipulated her kids both to gain legally sanctioned marriage status and to play the victim role. She has also been criticized about how far apart we all are. From their end, perhaps we are somewhat broken. She's always kept her children separate from the rest and required additional time for them, pushing them further away. On television, Robyn's bitter denouncements of her husband had to have been difficult for the children to see. There was also that instance when she brushed away toddler Truly with a dismissive gesture, something that spoke volumes about how she regards the other wives' kids. It's obvious she doesn't regard them as part of the family. Robyn's actions have not ended there. She was caught kicking a dog for nothing and overreacting at little things, such as a child spilling cereal, to the point of putting a no food sign inside the fridge. These behaviors came across as controlling and honestly greedy. When other wives were struggling financially, some even to the point of living on food stamps, Robyn showed up in debt but appeared to demand others cater to her children. Her controlling supervision of food was cold and cruel. Her handling of Truly is particularly sinister. Robyn frequently ignores her, contradicting her public assertions of adoring all the children. This emotional distance only intensified the schism within the family. Managing kids seemed to overwhelm Robyn at times. She appeared to expect the other wives and their children to help with childcare, but when she noticed her kids bonding with the older children, she shut it down. Her relationships with the other wives and their kids are strained, largely because she's guarded and controlling. Robyn has accused the older children of bullying, but as a matter of fact, they've been kind and warm to her kids. Her incessant need for special privileges and her tendency to turn her children into victims have instigated discord, not harmony. She's even been guilty of creating drama just to manipulate Kody, something that has only served to heighten family tension. Even with the elder children from other wives being friendly and welcoming towards Robyn's children, she appears to fight it, wanting to maintain them as separate. The pandemic provided her with a convenient alibi to keep her children further isolated, destroying contacts that were beginning to build up. Ultimately, Robyn's behavior appears to be motivated by insecurity and a need to control her narrative and her children's position in the family, as opposed to establishing genuine, loving relationships. For the last 14 years, I've just swallowed my pride and attempted to be a good husband. Since she's leaving, I feel like finally giving her a piece of my mind before she's gone. But what if I let you in on a little secret? Kody's rage isn't actually about who hurt him the worst. It's about who challenges his control. The reason behind his raging anger may surprise you. It's odd. Kody is much angrier at Christine than at Janelle, despite the fact that Janelle has been more outspoken and direct about her emotions regarding Robyn and the family situation. Kody's harsher treatment of Christine stands in opposition to the way he typically takes Janelle's side, particularly when it involves family matters. There is a clear contempt for Christine, but with Janelle, he only gets angry if she spends time with Christine. Perhaps one of the reasons for his behavior could be that Kody is still attempting to win back Janelle. They have broken up before, so perhaps he's hoping she will reconsider, and with it, her money. Robyn has also kept alive Kody's wrath against Christine, and perhaps even against Janelle. If the show continues on, we could possibly see him lash out even more at Janelle. But for now, he does appear to restrain himself with her. Robyn's jealousy of Christine runs deep and appears to have fueled much of Kody's behavior. Remember when Kody stormed out of Janelle's house, shouting on camera? That moment revealed just how badly he struggles with his anger, even off screen. There was a woman staring at me online. Kody said nothing, but from then on, everything changed. His public disdain for Christine and Meri, combined with his tantrums, put big questions about how he treats relationships in private. Christine cut cleanly, establishing hard boundaries and going into therapy to get away from Kody's actions. She was genuinely strong for standing to him, and that seemed only to incite more rage. Janelle, on the other hand, has been calmer and less aggressive, which may be less of a challenge for Kody's ego to deal with. Christine's leaving affected Kody financially as well. She sold her home and claimed her portion of the equity, which certainly contributed to his anger. Janelle departed with cash as well, but Kody likely considers her financial security differently. because she was regarded as more important to the family's fiscal situation. Kody's anger against Christine may also be attributed to his craving for authority. Christine defied his leadership by refusing to apologize and by having the children support her, which challenged his position as the head of the family. Accounts claim he made mean comments regarding never finding her attractive and regretting having married her, infusing bitterness into the equation. At the same time, Kody appeared to get along better with Janelle, who was respectful to him and did not demand as much. Her independence financially could have considered her a more desirable partner to him. His rage could be more about losing control or access to her than Janelle herself. Robyn's envy of Christine as the family heart also played an enormous role. Christine's bond with the children and her warmth made her the center of the family dynamic, something Robyn evidently resented. Robyn allegedly fostered Kody's bitterness, exacerbating family splits. In the end, Kody's anger against Christine stems from a complicated combination of personal resentment, jealousy, loss of control, and financial frustration, all driven by Robyn's actions. He may view Christine's departure as the first domino that initiated his family's disintegration. Janelle's more subtle exit and their complex continuing relationship result in his anger towards her not being so evident at this time. What do you think about all of this? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this as an eye-opener, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe for more. Trust me, you won't regret what's to come next.